for a quick Devar Torah. Today, you notice, is Tisha B'Av. And it's been described as the Jewish Sadie Hawkins Day. For those who don't know the reference, that goes back to little Abner. It's the day when the women could go out and find the guy they wanted to marry. So the reverse of this. In the time, the Mishnah records that this was when the field hands would come into town, and the women would get dressed up in white. All the women wore the same clothes. The poor women were loaned clothes by the rich women, so when these guys came from the fields, they would not know who was wealthy, who was poor. All they would do is they were looking at the midot of the person they're talking to, the midot, the good qualities. Do I get along with this person, etc. And it's an important date. The Mishnah states that there was no happier days. The two happiest days of the Jewish year are Yom Kippur and Tisha B'Av, today, because of the fact that marriages were arranged, you were building to the future. And that is the idea in the Torah. The Torah is, you remember the past. We just had Tisha B'Av and the disasters that befell us. We remember all the bad things that happened, whether it's the period of the Crusades, the expulsion from Spain, the Holocaust. All these things happened. But you are not a people if you just dwell on the bad things. You have to think about the future and how to build a Jewish life. And the way you do it is you have to get married and have children. And then you work on the education of the children. Remember, in this week's Parsha contains the second paragraph of the Shema. And a key ingredient in that paragraph is you have to teach your children to talk about the mitzvot when they're standing, when they're sitting, when they're awake, when they get up in the morning, when they go to sleep at night. In other words, their lives should be full of Torah. That's what they should be discussing as much as possible, as well as earning a living. But again, it's showing the deference towards the future. We have a future. And the Torah wants to underline this. If you don't think you have a future, then you will not have a future. Okay? It's basically, though, the juxtaposition with Tisha B'Av and Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av tells us all the bad things. And you think, oh, this is such a bother. So if being Jewish is a bother, why bother? The Torah is trying to say, yes, these bad things happen, but it's up to us to make them good. It's up to us to take the lemons and make it into lemonade, as some people would say. So that's why this day is important. That's why we celebrate Tisha B'Av. In Israel, there's a lot of places where they set up meetings between young men and women. Hopefully something will come out from that. Something to think about.